shine like the dawn. And I just want to do that. So I ask anybody who knows me, please, if you hear me not trusting God with my children, please remind me that that I need to do that, because He loves them more than I do. So thanks.
This is Patrick and Corey Godchar. Would you introduce your gang to us and let us know what you're dedicating yourself to today, please?
Yes, hi, this is Corey and Ryan and Natalie and Will. We're dedicating Will today. And we are totally pleased that we finally got a happy child. He ate and slept and was happy most of the time. And I think the only ones that may dispute that are the nursery volunteers at the church here at Grace. We've gotten called out of, or paged out of the services most of the time, right? So, today we're dedicating ourselves to Corey and I as living as godly parents, with our lives centered in Christ. We feel to be more effective parents, we need to continue to strengthen our marriage and our love for one another. We feel honored to be given the chance to raise Will. We feel he's truly a gift from God. We dedicate ourselves to praying with and praying for Will as he develops his God-given gifts and talents. We hope to teach him to have inner strength and godly traits. And lastly, we just pray that he will learn to grow to love God and to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Thanks.
Thank you. This is Peter and Manney, and we have a couple of folks to introduce to us and just share with us what you're hoping for today.
Well, we were standing up here last year with Ashley and had no idea we'd be up here again this year. Here we are. And we just want to take this opportunity. A lot of you know that this last year for us has been very difficult, and we had a hard time getting Alex here, and we just want to thank everybody that helped us out. But this is Alexander James, and we're very thankful that he's here, even though he caused us a little bit of a tougher year last year. And we just want to basically dedicate ourselves and him to raising him the best we can to be a godly man and just respectful and just the best person he can be, and a good little brother to Ashley as well. So that's what we're up here for, is just to give ourselves over to raising him the best we can.
And this is Randy and Renee Reyes. Would you please introduce your little ones to us and tell us what you're dedicating yourself to?
This is my wife Renee and Daniel, son John. I think my wife wants to say a few things.
You got to speak last year. For a number of years, these services were hard for us to attend. But in God's timing, not in our timing, we have two beautiful little boys. In less than 17 months, so be careful what you pray for. But today we are here to dedicate John to the Lord and just really ourselves. The last 6 months have been filled with a lot of joy and not much sleep, but we have just been reminded on a daily basis our need for God, and we just want the boys to, John we're talking specifically about today, but both boys to really come to know the Lord and be dependent on Him, and just the miracle that He can work in their lives as He has worked in ours. And so we're committing ourselves today publicly in front of our church family and our friends.
Thank you.
And John and Shannon Miller. You have Carson here, and why don't you share a little bit about what today means to you?
Well, I'm John, and this is my wife, Shannon. Our firstborn son, Carson. I've learned more, I think, in the last month than in our lives, but we're real grateful to have Grace. We have lived all over the country the last couple of years, been to more churches than we can count on all of our hands and toes combined. And we haven't seen any church that has any sort of a kids programs like Grace does, and we're real thankful for that, for Carson and for everyone else up here today. But the primary reason we're here today is just to dedicate him to Christ, and also to dedicate ourselves to doing the best job we can to raise him in Christ's image. And we know that's not something we can do on our own, that we'll have to rely on Christ and rely on the church body for your help.
Got a great group of parents here, and they're going to need all of our help. And one of the things we enjoy doing is to ask the parents to share their proclamation together, and we're going to do it a little bit differently today. And then we're going to ask you as a body to share your support for them. And today we're going to direct you a little bit more and have you say "I do" instead of some of the other vows. But we're going to share those with you. But I'm going to ask you, because this is so important, if you'll stand, and Joe, you're going to help me out here, right? You're going to lead the body here in a second. Parents, I'm going to ask you some things here, and then I'll cue you, and your response is to say "I do," all right? Do you, by your presence and by your words here today, acknowledge that these children are a gift of God, on loan to you for a short while? And do you commit yourselves to their welfare, emotionally, physically, socially, and spiritually? And do you vow to create an environment of marriage that will sustain these young lives? And if so, please say, "I do."
And to the body, will you, the family of God at Grace Community Church, receive these children as a sacred trust? Will you value them as Christ does? Will you assist and encourage their parents in the child-rearing process? Will you love them, value them, and invest in them as the hope of the world for the next generation? Will you pray for them? If so, please say, "I will."
I will.
Thank you.
All right, parents. Will you too pray for your children? Will you trust God to do what only He can do in their lives? Will you plan, train, love, discipline, and believe in them as God does? Will you seek to honor the God-stamped image on each one of them? Will you seek out wise counsel and do your very best to be a growing and learning parent? And if so, please say, "I will." Well, let me encourage you, if you are family or friends, to come up. Mark is going to come and to pray for these families. If you're involved in their lives, come and stand beside the folks up here. We would love to have you all up here.
And Trent, Manney, if you guys want to maybe pull back.